It's the Agribusiness Report. I'm Tony St. James, joined today by Chandler Goule. Chandler is CEO, National Association of Wheat Growers. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. Thank you for having me on your program.
Let's talk about National Association of Wheat Growers. You represent wheat growers nationwide, but it's not just one class of wheat, right?
You know, it's been, I've had this job for 7 months. It's been a great 7 months, very exciting. I've traveled over most of the country to meet with our growers and have learned lots of things. You know, I have to say throughout my career working in agriculture, I just kind of thought wheat was wheat. Because that's all we worked with in a general farm organization, and then when I was on the committee, and come to find out there's 6 classes of wheat, and it's pretty much grown in 6 different geographies with 2 or 3 different purposes. Some of the wheat, depending on where it's grown, is grown very specifically for the Asian market for export. Some of the wheat is grown what I call the I-35 corridor or the Great Plains, which is domestically consumed and is a completely different class of wheat and variety, and so I'm learning more and more that wheat's a little bit like dairy. It's got a lot of different groups in there, but balancing them all out. And I think, you know, having been the dairy staff director for many years on the House Ag Committee, it makes this a good fit for me, and I really look forward to working with the Farm Bill and representing about 80% of the wheat producers in the United States.
Well, that background thrown into the fact that you were also with the National Farmers Union really gives you some insight to what goes on in Washington, D.C., and we already know that we're gearing up to write a new farm bill. What are some important things that we might need to remember as we write a 2017-2018 farm bill?
Well, there's several things that we need to remember. Secretary Vilsack brought several of us CEOs in, I'd say around October of last year, and had some very good advice for us. First, he said, do not go to the Senate and House Ag Committee and come in with the lowest denominator. In the 2014 Farm Bill, the agriculture sector, or the Farm Bill, was one of the only, if not the only, piece of legislation that passed that was a deficit reduction bill, and we came in saving the U.S. taxpayer $23 billion. We are having a rough time right now, and agriculture sales and income has dropped by 46%. And he encouraged us to go to the Senate and House and Ag Committee and ask for what we need. Do you need a higher PLC price? Do we need additional coverage in crop insurance? Do we need to expand some of the working land and other conservation programs? Go and ask for what you need, and don't go in saying, here's where we're willing to cut, because we've already done that in agriculture. And so that's a key message. The other key message is to expand our coalition. It can't just be commodity groups, conservation programs, or commodity organizations, those who use and sell crop insurance, going in and asking for a farm bill. We've got to bring the nutrition community. We need their support, but we need to go beyond that. And this was another message from the last administration, from Secretary Vilsack, was we need to go and have the military there with us, go and have faith-based organizations with us. General Wesley Clark is someone I've gotten to know fairly well through my years in Washington. He has a fantastic speech, because he was there, not because he read about it, of the Afghan and the Syrian situation of the refugees and the wars over there, and talked about how all of them started because of food insecurity, and that he sees the Farm Bill as the linchpin here, not only in the United States, but because we feed the world, as not only a major food security, but a national security issue for the United States and for feeding those in other countries. And so we really do need to be looking outside the box, because it is going to take a larger coalition outside of agriculture to pass this next farm bill.
Speaking of passing a farm bill, 2014 farm bill, you mentioned earlier at the Ag Issues Summit something that you did where you would ask people to do something, then you'd follow up with a phone call to the Hill. How important is it to make a phone call?
So I worked on the Hill for 11 years. I worked in 4 different personal offices, so I know how a personal office works, and then I spent almost 7 years on the House Agriculture Committee. When you call your congressman or your senator, your call is logged. What you called about is logged, and then it is sent to the appropriate staffer. And then in each of my offices, now every office is different, but at some point that information was given to the congressman or senator of, we've gotten X phone calls, X emails, or X number of letters on this issue. This seems to be the main theme of what the problem is. I mean, the member is informed on that. And during the 2014 Farm Bill, we had high commodity prices, dairy prices were high, and we would put out action alerts from my organization, National Farmers Union, and saying you need to call your congressman because we know these prices are not going to stay where they are. No matter how many economists tell you corn is going to stay at $6, we know it's not going to. And then I would call and follow up with the senators and the congressmen from the states that I had put the action alert out to and said, have any of my members called you? And they said, not a single one. And so you heard from myself as well as the rest of the panel today that phone call, that 5-minute phone call is so important in order to make sure that we're getting what we need in the Farm Bill and to get it passed. And so whether you're a member of the wheat growers or if you're a corn grower association or if you're in the cattlemen's or whatever organizations you belong to that are working on the Farm Bill on your behalf, if you get a call to action to call your congressman or senator or to write them a letter, you are the ones that are going to push the Farm Bill over the edge to get it passed. It's not going to be those of us in Washington. We're there to represent you, but you're the actual voting constituent.
Chandler, always great to see you. Wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Chandler Goule is CEO with the National Association of Wheat Growers, joins us on today's Agribusiness Report.